Hey, good evening, everybody. What is going on? I got people texting me saying, "Where's the show, Paul?" It's like get the show on the road, man. Look, I'm with you. Hang tight. I know some of you are grumpy old people like me that have to go to bed. I understand. I understand. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Tonight we're gonna go over the new psionics class, the new psionics class, the Psion that uses psionics for the. They just came out with a Unearthed Arcana for the 2024 edition of D&D. Now, I do not necessarily. I don't have any of the newest books or anything like that. If I play 5e, I'll usually play 2014 rules just because, as a professional dungeon master, I'll run anything. Listen, if people are paying me money, I'm gonna run it. But it's not my go-to system. I don't have any bones to pick necessarily, but that's just me. If I play 5e, I'm gonna play the 2014 probably version. But anywho, we're going to dive into it tonight. We're going to talk about it. And I know other people are showing up. They're coming in, hanging out. Welcome, everybody. Feel free. We should start a drum roll for your appearance. Well, how about this? How about... How was that? Is that pretty good? You didn't know I had sound effects, did you? But there we go. So yeah, maybe I need to have that, or we could we could always for me, like, look, I could just do something real simple, like there we go. There I am. Here I am showing up. Yeah, but no, we have drum rolls. Pretty good, huh? All right, so a couple of things to get out of the way. Next week, I'm going to try to get some videos done ahead of time. I will be in North Texas. I will be in Dallas there at the North Texas RPG Con. And yeah, so I'm going to be up there just having fun. I'm not running any games. I'm hanging out. I know there's a lot of my contemporaries here on YouTube. They're going to be there. I'm anxious to see some of them, just to meet them, shake their hand, and hang out with them a little bit. And so to do that well, I do want to make sure that I share that I have a zine out that is called Crit Happens. And this zine, I'm up to number 11. I've completed the 33 steps of creating a sandbox. Now, I've not created the whole world, but I have created a sufficient region of a map. And this is the first town that I have fully fleshed out, called the Village of Skyreach. And if you would like that, I will put links in the description, and I will put links in the chat here. Let's see here. And I would encourage you to buy as many as possible, or share it with your friends. I need some extra cash for that week. That's why. Okay, let's just be honest. I need a few bucks for that week. I got to figure this thing out. And so if you're prone to do so, please do that. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm going to put also in there the Hexcrawl bundle, which let's see. The Hexcrawl bundle is going to be, you get the bundle, you're going to get number 11 in there as well. So, hello, Michael. Good to see you this evening. You caught me here as I am sharing links and so forth, so that people will buy the zine so I can have some extra cash for next week. So I don't want something for nothing. I just say, hey, I have a product, I have a resource, would love you to purchase. I'm pretty proud of this. This is something that I've never done. It's the first thing I've ever done in this realm. And so I'm excited to do it. You can buy the bundle for, I think it's at, I don't know, $11.99, $12.99, something like that. I know you're getting $2 off whatever the price is total. So I think there's like 8 zines, PDFs, and you can you can get those there, as well as the let's see. We can get the actual individual zine, and the individual zine is only $2. So that's pretty reasonable, at least for the size of the zines. I think this page count's like 42 pages, something like that. So if you are interested in that, you can just go ahead and buy the single zine for $2, or you can get the whole shebang, the bundle, and that would be awesome. So feel free to share it. Another reason too is I want to be able to put the word out there, because I want to. To get reviews, things like that. I'm thinking about where to get those done. Who can do reviews for me and things like that. So you have suggestions of people who'd be willing to review it, and that's good or bad. It doesn't matter to me. At least it gets out there and people can make decisions on it. But if they can review it and take a look at it, put the word out for me, that is great. Would appreciate it. This is the single zine right here. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the comment there. There is a lot in there, and it is getting there even more and more. So there's the single issue. So there's links in the chat, links below, and we're going to jump into our things together. Don't forget, you can also, should you choose to do so, you can also buy, like I said, buy the bundle. There's all the bundles. You get all the you get a bunch of these. That's not all you get. That's just 5 of them that you can get, which really talks about my world of Skyreach, the setting that I'm working on. And then, of course, you can always think about becoming a member for a whole 99 cents. And if you become a member for 99 cents, it's like getting your zine for half price, because you're paying to be a part of the member of the channel, but you're also getting the zine then for free. So, or for $1 basically. You're getting it for 50% off. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, the question I will ask is, have you ever used psionics in your game? Have you ever used psionics in your game? Chat, how about you? Do you use it? Do you not use it? I like psionics, and I'm going to tell you why here in just a second. And I can't really tell you why, other than the fact that the movies I'm about to show you that have impacted my thoughts on it probably drove some of that. So if you are a psionics person, yay or nay, in the chat, let me know. And then I'm going to show you some reasons why I like my psionics. We'll get into that a little bit. Let's see. Let me go into, while you guys are giving your votes and whatnot about psionics in your game, I'm going to show you some of the reasons why I like psionics. The first reason is this. The first reason is this movie right here. Let me tell you what. I love this movie. It's probably my favorite Stephen King movie, is Firestarter. Drew Barrymore is a fantastic actor in this, and she, as a kid actor, there's a lot of bad kid actors. Drew Barrymore was not one of them. She was outstanding, and this whole movie to me was super gritty. It was super no frills, and that's what I really like about psionics. I love that psionics is. It's a in this movie, at least, it's portrayed as a power, but with limitations, with a certain amount of limitations. And so I don't think psionics should be automatically just super powerful. I just think it should be have some boundaries to it where it impacts you as a person, right? And another movie, and by the way, there's the mystery. What I like about this is that it's mysterious, right? We don't really know where it comes from. Yeah, there's a lab. There was tests being done, but those abilities were already there, right? They didn't induce them per se. And then you had a movie like Scanners, and Scanners, those guys were next level, and we don't see that in once again. If you use psionics, I mean, hopefully in your game, if you use psionics, one of your abilities is you can make heads explode. That's the whole deal. Yeah, Tim, Heather Locklear didn't hurt it either. No doubt. But in Scanners, it was basically like a small group of kind of gifted people with the power to connect their brains into other, what it says is the nervous system separated by space. And the power is gained through a drug called ephemeral. Now, I'm not against that. If you want to get mind powers from drugs in your game somehow, fine. Sounds good to me. Go with it. That's what I say. I think that is if it unlocks a part of your brain for a short period of time, which I like that about the fact that you could do, if you do psionics that way, it's limited. If you don't have the drug, then you can't do psionics. So there's a limited resource possibly that you need to be able to do psionics. Now, another one is the Fury. It's not my favorite. It's there. I think it just had enough elements to kind of like it. A little bit on the boring side, but once again, it's a fine movie. Because it has Michael Douglas in it, and it's fairly captivating. It's okay. And then you had, and by the way, those powers weren't designated either. I don't think. I think they just had them. Once again, then you had this movie, which is also a very good movie. It's probably number, I'll say, top 5 maybe of Stephen King. Once again, we don't know where Carrie got her powers. They're not explicitly explained, but they are presented as a natural inherited ability, possibly with a connection to her mother's religious fervor. Carrie's powers are also connected to her emotions, particularly rage and fear, which amplify and shape their expression. So it's another thing I like about these types of psionics, is that they are conditional in a sense. You're able to use something of yourself. You're using your emotions, which also can get you into trouble, right? It's almost like if you use wild talents, let's say, for, in magic, that something can go awry, if you're doing that. Well, same way. What happens when you have psionics and you're put into a situation where fear, and that to me, like in the RPG Alien, there's a stress mechanic. And in the system that I have a group in my setting called the Order of the Right Mind, and they use psionics, and they are the people who are combating, Cinder, the Mad, who is kind of like the demigod of madness. Which creates these kind of moments for people who have subjected themselves to her, where they could literally just start killing people at any moment. They're just like, in the movie The Crazies, or something like that, where it's like an uncontrollable thing that's going on. And so for them, I like that there's a dynamic that can affect things, especially if you're a first level, second level. Maybe your stress mechanic that you roll is really high. You've got to roll to get it under control, and if it doesn't, then something happens. Some manifestation of your powers comes out. If you try to use, if you're not even intentionally, it just sort of happens. And then you have this movie Phenomenon, which happened because John Travolta, I think, got hit by lightning. Or he saw a bright light, one way or another. He was either hit by lightning or saw a bright light. Either way, powers were just there. They didn't have to be explained. Now, that being said, with all of that, I will say from the beginning that I don't like psionics tied to magic. I don't like it tied to levels. I don't like it tied to those type of things. And does it look like magic? Sure. But it doesn't... It can look like magic and not be magic, right? So let me go over to the psionic section. I'm going to take you to the screen here. And I will show you. Let's see. How do I want to do this? There, you guys can see that. And I'm going to put myself in here somewhere. Go. And I'll put myself over here where I can chat with all of you. Look at the screen. So let's just go to the top here. And for those that may not know anything about psionics, this may be brand new to you. I said, Paul, has psionics been around? Yeah. Since the first edition Player's Handbook, I believe there's a chart in the back We won't look at that. Maybe that might be for another session. I may do that. But the Psion, it's a playtest document, Unearthed Arcana. What's inside? Psion, the first new class since the Artificer, the first class since the Artificer. The Psion weaves magic through the power of their mind. Subclasses. 4 subclasses provide unique identities, such as for a Psion character says Metamorph, Psywarp, or Psykinetic, and Telepath. And then spells, a collection of spells, both familiar and new, enhance the options available. And that's what I think, too, is that, yes, there's going to be some of that overlay, because you can. It's unavoidable that you're going to have spell-like things, right? And they're just going to look like that. There's almost no choice in that regard. But my hope is that I hope to develop some things, some abilities, some things that maybe haven't been messed with yet. I don't know. Maybe it's not possible. There's probably nothing new under the sun. I'll think it's new, but that's fine. So, and then it talks about wild talents. Also included are a collection of feats that provide characters with a way to tap into psionic powers. Backgrounds representing their connection to wild talents will be included with these feats in a future book if they become official. But in the meantime, characters who take the noble or sage background can choose a wild talent feat in place of that background origin feat, and any character may use one of these feats when their class normally allows a feat choice. I won't get into all that. We'll go into Psion, a master of psionic power. Psions weave magic and extraordinary powers through the power of their minds, and then develop their minds as fonts of power that manifest spells and grow stronger over the course of their adventuring careers. You can find everything you need to play one of these psionic powerhouses in the next few seconds. Now, see, these powerhouses is probably the part I don't like. Once again, it's superhero type of stuff, and I just think psionic people who use psionics, aren't on the same level. At points they could be powerful, but there's no need in my mind to connect psionics with magic. I just think it's its own thing, and I know that argument has been out there forever. Well, how do you differentiate? I think you differentiate by the what a psionicist can do, because it has some limitations, and some of those limitations, I did an article, by the way, and I'll put it in the description, about how to make psionics more flavorful. Because if you watch shows like, if you watch the movie Firestarter, well, every time Drew Barrymore's dad had to do something, he would use his powers and his nose would bleed. Those are, to me, these are a lot of mechanics. They're all mechanics. They don't have the flavor that I desire in a psionics type of thing. Yeah, brain tumor. Yeah, that's right. Brain tumor made him get googly. That's right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so could that be a thing? Absolutely. To get your psionics, it does not have to be tied. I don't think it has to be tied to a deity. I don't think it has to be tied to a magic class. I don't think it has to be tied that way. I think it can be its own thing and simply be mysterious, right? So what is a Psion? Psion are spellcasters. Immediately, I don't like it. To me, psionists are not spellcasters. They're endowed humans who have unlocked part of their brain has been unlocked through drugs, through through an incident where you have knocked your head, right, and you've got an injury of some kind, and that type of thing. I just don't think to me, just tying it to spells. Do we need another magic user? No, I don't think so. So, science and their magic, sometimes called science, can trace their history back to the appendix, first edition, so forth. I think we talked about that. Primary ability, intelligence. Okay. I don't know if I would use intelligence. Maybe constitution might be the thing. Chat, what do you think? I think constitution would be the key, because I think every time you use psionics, it weakens you in some way. And of course, the more adept you get at it, and if you want to say levels, that's okay. You can have levels, I think, for psionics. Except I think it's you still get, even at level, whatever you get up to, level 10, let's say, I still think you're going to suffer some of that weaknesses. You're going to be drained by it. You're not going to be able to do. And I really think psionics is maybe even best suited for Shadow Dark, because you want to do something and you roll and it doesn't happen, then you are struck by this weakness, this, something happened, right? Versus saying, well, your spell failed. Well, okay, well, your spell failed. It could be attributed to your patron. It could be attributed to your deity. It could be attributed to whatever, a lot of things. But I think if your spell fails and you're doing psionics, I think that ultimately it's just something happened in your brain. Something happened that did not connect, right? Yeah, Constitution makes more sense. And so we have saving throw, intelligence, wisdom. Okay. Skill proficiency, choose 2 arcane insight. Choose 2 arcane insight, intimidation. Yeah, intimidation would work for sure, because you can do some things with your psionics that would be intimidating for sure. Investigation, right? I don't want psionics to be, it's that, level creep, power creep, right? I don't even want psionics to get into that power creep level, which once again, I think makes it suitable for Shadow Dark, would be a good class for Shadow Dark, because it's not you're gonna be able to do things, but the downside is, hey, if you lose it, you lose it. That's just how it goes. Your brain, snapped at that moment and you just can't do it. So let's move on. So you become a Scion, level 1. Gain all the traits in the core Scion trait table. As a multi-class character. See, that's another thing. I would, and I don't think you can I'm pretty sure you can't in Shadow Dark. You can't multi-class. I would not allow Scions to multi-class at all. I say your ability is your ability. What you got is what you got. And if you choose that to do something else, well, let's put it this way. Maybe I won't let you multi-class in any other magic, right? I won't let you can't adapt any other magic. You can be a fighter, you can multi-class as a fighter or as a thief or something like that, but nothing with any kind of magic to it. I think that's fair enough, right? And then you have Scion class features. As a Scion, you gain, let's see, how would you make the Psi abilities different from the spells in Shadow Dark? How would you make the Psi abilities different from the spells in Shadow Dark? I think they would be, because it's working in the mind, Tim, I think it would be far more instantaneous type of things. Like, if in my head, how I'm working out the order of the right mind. At some point, like, you can do very basic things, right? So, like with anything, you scale. So at the first level, let's say you can move small things. That's what you get. You move small things. You find out you have this ability. And at level 1, you can move small things around. You can shift the lantern on the table. You can, move some things around if you want, right? You can, at second level, you can move medium things. And at some point, maybe you can start doing some things where I don't even want to get into reading minds. There's scalability there where you can do the cool things, right? At level 4, let's say you get Fireball. Look, if a little kid can do it in Firestarter, you can do this at level 4 and say, look, I'm gonna do Fireball. You're gonna get Fireball and it's gonna be done, right? So, and you're just grabbing kinetic energy. That's all. You're just grabbing all this kinetic energy that are around you. So would they differ? They differ in the sense from the source in which you get it, and I think it can differ in regards to how it affects you. Failing a spell is one thing. You lose the spell, but if your spell goes off, there's still a drain of some point, right? There's still I don't want to say consequence, because that's there's a back and forth with your ability that you don't necessarily get in Magic. There's a draining quality. There's a tell. Your nose bleeds. Something happens to you in using your power. It's almost like, too, if you look at, I want to look at, what am I thinking about? I'm trying to think of the game, but there's corruption rules in some games, right? Where if you use magic too much, you can gain corruption points. And I would not call them corruption points. I don't know if I would even include that, but there's some sort of something that happens. It's not corruption. It's, I don't know. I'd have to think on it a little bit, but I think your point is taken that I think it should differentiate, but I think the weakness or the thing that happens to you is something that you have to be aware of, that when you do use it, when you do use that ability, you're taking into account that something else is going to happen as well. Versus when you cast a spell, you're worried about failing, but failing is a mechanic, right? Versus a something connected to your character. I think all or most psi powers would have focus duration. Yeah, sure. And you'll see that as I go through this, there's some of this with the energy die that they're using as a mechanic here. And so, yeah, how long could you focus? And maybe that's by level, or you use, I want to say that you do a constitution, and rather than rolling and saying, hey, you're going to add so much time to your focus, a special die, I think you're maybe rolling against your constitution to see how long you could keep it up. I think that's if you can roll and say, look, I'm going to keep up my constitution this round, then you can do it. You're no longer casting to make the spell. The spell's going. You're just rolling to say, can I keep this going? Or am I going to shut down and be weak? And then I'm no good for a round because I'm trying to just get back on my feet. And the higher level you go, the quicker you can respond, the quicker you get back, to doing that, is at least in my head, how I'm working it out in my mind. But it's a good point, Michael. It's a good point. How this works out. And I'm trying, like I said, my goal is to make it just a little grittier and connect it to the person versus connecting it inside the person versus connecting it outside the person, right? Where it's the person that is doing this versus these magical abilities per se. All right, moving along. Level 1 spellcasting. You have learned how to channel magical energy using the power of your mind. See the player's handbook, so on and so on. Which, you're using, the whole sentence doesn't make sense to me. You're using the power of your mind to channel magical energy. Okay. Once again, I don't see it. But the information below discloses all these things. Cantrips. The Psion cantrip for your choice. 2 Psion cantrips of your choice. Minor Illusion and Telekinetic Fling, which I'm sure we can guess what that is. And I don't even know if you get cantrips. You might get one free thing. I don't know. Maybe. Probably. You probably get something starting out. Whenever you gain a Psion level, you can replace one of your cantrips from this feature with another Psion cantrip of your choice. When you reach Psion level 10 and 14, you learn another Psion cantrip of your choice as shown in the cantrip columns of the Psion feature table. Spell slots. And once again, I think, once again, I don't know if I would have spell slot. It goes back to Tim's point. How do you do it in Shadow Dark? I just don't know if there are spell slots as much as it relies upon your constitution. I think you're just, the level of the constitution goes up, that you're going to need let's say your constitution's 14. And you want to move beyond that. You want to say, okay, I want to do something that's beyond my level. Then yeah, it's going to be maybe a 16 or an 18. And then you can add your constitution bonus. But I don't necessarily see it as, I don't know, in levels in my mind. I guess it would have to be, though, if you're spelling it out. But I don't know. You guys help me out in the chat. I may be rambling. I'm trying to work it out in my brain how I see it as not spell slots versus saying I want to do this and it depends on my constitution. Like if I want to take a risk, and for every risk you take above your constitution, you're gonna be out. Let's say you're gonna be out for 2 rounds. You tried, you tried to summon all this mental energy to do this thing, but and you're shooting for the moon here. But boy, that's gonna be, if you're trying to do fireball when you're not ready for fireball and you don't get it, that's gonna hurt. You're gonna take some sort of psychic damage, right, from trying to attempt to do this. Which would be just another way to say, look, you probably stay in your lane. You already don't want to try too much. It's gambling, right? But then again, Shadow Dark is all gambling as far as I'm concerned. It's like, is this going to work? We don't really know. All right, prepared spells of level 1 plus. You prepared the list and so forth. We won't go through all that. You can see it looks very similar to a Magic User table or any other table like that. All right, let's go on to just level 1 psychic power. These are all, once again, it says when you cast a science spell, that spell doesn't require a verbal or material component, even if the spell includes a VM in its components entry, right? So there's no components you need for psionics. That's the good thing. You say, look, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to use my will to do it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Level 1 psionic powers. Okay, level 1. You harbor a wellspring of psionic energy within yourself. This energy is represented by your psionic energy dice. Your psion level determines the dice size and number of psionic energy dice you have, as shown in the energy die number of dice columns. Your psionic energy dice are used to enhance or fuel certain psion features. You start with 2 such features: telekinetic propel and telepathic connection, each of which is detailed below. Some of your powers expend the psionic energy dice as specified in a power description, and you can't use a power if it requires you to use a die when all your psionic energy dice are expended. So, so I think this goes to what Michael was saying. These dice are going to be used to power up, to extend your, right, to say, or do, I think if there's an example in here about distance, right, how far you can do it. So I think that dice is going to add so many yards or distance or whatever it is, or power up or whatever those things are going to be. Tim says, it's a tough one. Just off the top of my head, I would think that Psi is specialized in their power. And as they increase in levels, instead of gaining more powers, the power is able to do more. Right. Okay. Yeah. And you're only keyed in at certain levels of doing one thing. So like if you do at level 4, let's say you have explosion, implosion. Now that's added to your other abilities. You get the other, 1 through 3. But when you get to, or 1 through 4, let's say you get to level 5 and you have, or level 4, which is fireball, you can do that. It's implosion, explosion. That's where you can start blowing people's heads up, or body parts, or fireball, or explosions out somewhere else, where somebody's standing and you want to just blow up the ground right in front of them, or sending out something like that. Then I think that's I think you're gaining that, but you don't get anything else. That you just get you're unlocking as you go along. You're unlocking your mental abilities, right? You're not getting spell slots. You're not getting, right. So for me, it's just about unlocking. You're getting better at unlocking your mind to do certain things, and once again, requires play testing, right, to be able to figure this part out. It requires play testing, and I'll maybe do that. Tim goes on. Close increases to near. Bump the damage die by 1 type and add a die. Increase the area of effect, but I can see getting into trouble balancing. Sure. Yeah, but I think that's where. But I think the effect, Tim, is what happens to you when you use the power. Is there a point where I think no matter when you use it, something affects you. It either drains you or it does something. Now it may do less as you level up, but it's going to affect you in some way. Something, no matter what, the power affects you. Once again, because I think if it never affects you, if it never bothers you, if there's no downside to it, then you've reached superhero status. But I always think there needs to be, for a psionicist, no matter what you've unlocked, there's both an inherent danger to something happening to you within game that, to me, lends the flavor. It's not just a mechanic; it's a flavor that happens to you, right? That happens to your character. Let's see. What gets increased will be determined by the class random talent table. Sure. Absolutely. You could not have a powers known by tier and instead only gain new powers by talent rolls. Yeah. 100% you could do that. You'd have to be lucky, right? That involves luck, because if you say, well, if you roll the same thing, or if you roll, and you could have just that you could say there's a choice on it that says, well, choose what you want, or choose the next level. Right? That there are levels, that there's a table that you can only have this, then, this, then, this, then, this, and this. And you say, okay, I will choose the one I get to have my next level ability, right? I get to choose that. Or choose the next, you bump to next level or whatever it may be. Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving along. So then you have subtle telekinesis. Let's see, telepath. You have telepath within 5 feet as a bonus action, right? There's no bonus actions, in using psionics, at least my way. You can expend 1 psionic energy die and roll it for a number of minutes. This is where they use the energy die, and roll it for a number of minutes equal to your psion level. The range of your telepathy increases by the number of feet equal to 10 times the number rolled. Now, that would be a natural thing. Like Tim was saying, you could go, all your abilities scale from close to near to far. That eventually all your abilities, your telekinesis, everything else, will then you could say, okay, if you roll it on talents, or at least you can go up a level, or you could choose. Maybe there's choices to be made, right? It's like, well, which mind ability do you wish to level, right? You could say, well, I want to take my telekinesis and I want to make sure I want it to go from close to near, and then the next time you level up, I say I want to take it from near to far. So it slows it down. I think that would slow it down to where you just don't get everything all at once, right? And you guys can let me know in the chat what you think about that. Subtle telekinesis. The mage hand cantrip. You can cast it without somatic components, and you can make this spectral hand invisible when you cast it. Level 2, you learn the further sonic techniques that are fueled by your sonic energy dice. You gain 2 disciplines of your choice, such as expanded awareness and insinuation. Disciplines are described in the Sonic Discipline Options section later in this class description. You can use only 1 discipline each turn and only 1 per turn unless otherwise noted. Right. That's fair, because, I would not want anybody... I don't see a combination effect. I think you're using 1 ability. You can use 1 ability 1 round and, of course, 1 another, but you can only use it in 1 round. And then you can replace things, this is a thing where you can replace your stuff and so forth. Level 2, Sonic Modes. You have honed your Sonic power to act as both a shield and a weapon in battle as bonus action. You can choose one of the following modes, granted you certain benefits, right? So attack mode, damage from your weapon attacks, sign spells, and sign features, ignores resistance to psychic damage. In addition, when you roll damage for a spell, you can spend 1 Sonic energy die to reroll a number of damage dice up to your intelligence modifier, and you must use the new rolls. Okay? Defense mode, you have resistance to psychic damage. In addition, when you fail an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, you can take a reaction to expend one psionic energy die roll. Roll the psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the saving throw, potentially turning a failure into a success. You can use this feature twice, and you regain all the expended uses when you finish a long rest. You choose every round in Shadow Dark what you're going to do, right? Whether it's you're going to do whatever. So yeah, if you want to do a some sort of protection, if you want to cast out of your mind, you want to use it to protect and do a la Invisible Girl from the Fantastic Four, and you say, okay, I'm going to do a shield around us type of thing instead of attacking. Okay, you can do that. Level 3, Psion subclass. You gain a Psion subclass of your choice: the Metamorph, Psywarper, Psychokinetic, Telepath subclasses are detailed after this class description. In fact, we're going to go to that here in a minute. I think we're going to go to the disciplines here in just a second. But there's a Psion sub. Level 3, you get a Psion subclass. Level 4, ability score improvement. Level 5, Psionic Restoration. Level 7, Psionic Surge. When you roll initiative, you can spend one of your hit point dice and regain one extended use of psionic modes. Level 19, Epic Boon. Level 20, Enkindled Life Force. This is once per turn. When you expend one psionic energy die and roll it for a psion feature or psionic discipline, you can expend two of your hit dice to roll 2 additional psionic energy die, add the number, roll to the total. Okay. It's a lot of math. A lot of math in here. All right, so then you have Psionic Discipline options in the alphabetical order. Biofeedback. When you cast Science Spell from the Necromancy. Okay, now we're choosing schools. And I understand that because really, in a way, I'm describing schools as well, but they're not schools of magic. They're schools of, like I said, if I said implosion, explosion, right? That's just another term for something else. So I'm not creating something else. I'm trying to make it more suitable for a psionist who does not rely upon magic, right? So either or, right? We're nothing new under the sun. I don't think I'm necessarily trying to create something brand new, although I'm trying to make it as flavorful as possible for the psionicist. So biofeedback. When you cast a psion spell from the Necromancy or Transmutation School, you can expend one psionic die and roll it. You gain a number of temporary hit points. Okay? You gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. Now, I do see this. Is there a level where you can increase your, on your talents, right? For Shadow Dark, you roll and say you can increase, maybe you go ahead and you say you increase your constitution by 1, okay? Or maybe there's a spell that gives you temporary constitution, right? You got to cast that one round so you can cast the next thing you want to roll. That's going to make it a little bit easier. You're going to grab all that energy in one round. You're going to say, okay, I have this constitution. And then you say, okay, I'm going to roll it then. And then so for the next round, I'll use that so I get a better roll on the next one. But it works, sequentially. Destructive Thoughts. When you cast a science spell from the Conjuration or Evocation School and a creature you can see succeeds a saving throw against a spell, you can expend a psionic energy die, roll it. Creature takes psychic damage equal to the number of rolled plus your intelligence modifier. Let's see. Devilish Tongue. You can expend psionic energy die, roll, add number of roll to the ability check. The influence action. Ego Whip. When a creature provokes an opportunity of attack from you by leaving your reach, you can take a reaction to roll one psionic energy die and force the creature to make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed saving throw, The target's speed is reduced by 10 feet, and it subtracts the number rolled from the next damage roll, and it makes before the end of its next turn, the die is expended only if the target fails the saving throw. What system have you seen that represents psi powers the best? I haven't. Maybe, back in the day, there wasn't, the only psionic system I knew was D&D, so for me, that was the best one. I'm sure there's a system that does it better. If you're watching this in the future and you know of a system that does psionics better, I know that D&D has, there's iterations of using points to use certain things. So you only have a certain amount of, points to use towards your psionics. I want to say that's like a 3.5 thing, maybe, or maybe 3 or 3.5. I think. And then you have, in Shadow Dark Age, you could use that maybe as as Constitution points or something like that. You have as many points as you have Constitution. So if you have 14 Constitution, you have 14 Constitution points. If this thing is worth 5, if a fireball is worth 5 Constitution points, then once you're out of Constitution points, you are out of psionics. That is your drain. You have drained yourself. Michael says GURPS works well, and I have never played GURPS, so that is a good bit of information there. Let's see. Jinx, show me a Coke. Yeah, GURPS works well. Once again, I don't know of other systems, so I am open to other systems that are out there that would work. And if you could, Michael, tell me, how does it work? What are you using in GURPS that makes it effective or different or grittier or any of those things? Okay. All right, and I'll move along. Okay, so you got Eagle Whip, Expanded Awareness. And basically you're just rolling dice. You're just saying, hey, we're going to get this and add it. Get this and add it and add it and add it. Sonic Backlash. Immediately after a creature you can see hits you with an attack, you can take a reaction to expended 1 Sonic Energy die, roll 2 Sonic Energy die, and subtract the number rolled on each die from the total. Holy crap, that's a lot of math. Subtract the number rolled on each die from the total. In addition, you can force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw on a failed dice. The target takes psychic damage equal to the amount rolled. There's a lot going on here. There is. And once again, this is a play test thing. So I'm not, forming a whole lot of judgment on it. People are going to play test it and see how it works. I'm just saying, from my brain, man, for 5th edition, and this is not the first time it's been, this extra die thing has been used. I want to say Tosh has had it. But there's just a lot going on with your character, and you got to roll a lot of dice and do a lot of things. Oh, he does a psionic mentalist in Shadow Sun. Okay, and I have that, and for some reason I haven't read. I guess maybe I've not read that far, but I have looked at it, and I need to look at it and see how he does his. That's right, Dark Sun does have psionics in it. All right, moving right along. See what else we got here. Okay, you got all your Psion spells here, level 1, level 2. We won't go through that. Let's go to the classes. Let's just see how they treat the classes. So Psion subclasses. You have the Metamorph. And I don't know if there's classes. For me, and I don't know, you guys tell me. I don't see classes. I don't see subclasses, obviously, in Shadow Dark anyway. But, I think all of these somehow, some way would be available to the psionicists, say, in Shadow Dark. Tim. Well, if Greg did it, it sucks. That's so mean, Tim. So mean. So mean. All right. So, what does the Metamorph do? Your mastery of psionic powers turns inward. Your own flesh becomes like clay to you, and you mold. A little typo there. Just, pointing that out. Just because, It's there. And you mold it to turn it into the perfect vessel of your psionic powers. Experience in manipulating your life energy also enables you to adjust the life force of friends and foes alike. Then it tells you what your metamorph spells at 3, 5, 7, and 9. Organic weapon at level 3. Excuse me. You can shape your limbs into weapons. Okay. Very T2. Whenever you take the attack action, you can make an opportunity attack. You can reform your free hand into one of the following organic weapons: Bone Blade, Flesh Maul, or Viscera Launcher. Your limbs immediately return to its previous form after your organic weapon hits or misses its target. And by the way, once again, I'll say again, this system is fine for what this is. It's not a system I play all the time. I much rather play Shadow Dark or play some other systems that use it in a different way. So I'm going through these saying, okay, I can see that that totally works within the system that they're running. Level 3, Extended Limbs. As a bonus action, you can expand one psionic energy for the next minute. You gain the following benefits: reach. Your reach increased by 5 feet, so I guess you're stretching. Speed. You become Mr. Fantastic here. Your speed increases by 5 feet. When you cast a spell that has a range of touch and casting time, in an action you can make the spell's range 10 feet. Okay. Level 6, you get an extra attack. Quickened healing, which, you can do that in, Shadow Dark as well. And it looks like this size system is just a different version of Spellcaster. It doesn't seem quite different. Right. And that's too, Tim, what I'm saying too is I don't want the Psionicist to be another Spellcaster. I desperately want it to be its own thing. And once again, if Chubby Funster's already figured it out, but I'm going to figure it out for my setting. What does that look like? And what are the repercussions of using it? And what is the, how does it add? How does me being a Psion in the world in which I am living affect other things? And I think that to me is the key. These are all mechanics. It doesn't give you the flavor, I think, that when you get a class like that, it's showing, its full range of what it could be. And my hope would be they'll figure that out as well as they put it into, whatever they put it into, if it gets, used or whatever. But for my setting in Kriesh, if you are a member of the Order of the Right Mind, well, I'm going to figure out to where, that having it, because the way at least in my world, when the hexing happened, there's something called, and I wish I could remember it now. It's called, you get these, something happens where there's a talent that you get or something like that it awakens in you. And it's not, even though the hex is magic, the psionic ability you get is not magic. In other words, it disrupts. It's almost like when the hexing happened, it's like like you get a concussion and it opens up part of your brain, right? But it's not, the spell may have caused it, but you don't have spell abilities. You have something else in psionics, at least. There are other things you can get, but I'm looking at it as a way that it opens up part of your brain to do the thing you want to do versus magic. An example I thought it was in a show called Carnival. He could heal, but things around him had to die for it to happen. There we go. Right, so you're drawing upon, so if you do a healing, well, your characters, your party doesn't want to be within 5 feet, because whatever is alive around there could draw that energy. And those things around have to have to die. But I think that'd be a cool effect that if I have to heal this person and it's drawing off some guy that's attacking us, I think that's great. I think that'd be a great dynamic. That I'm healing, healing the person I need to heal, but it's also drawing energy from my enemies to heal them. So it's drawing hit points from them or whatever it is, right? So I think that'd be a fun thing to do. Then you have quick and healing, mutable form. You have stony. Stony epidermis. You have an advantage on Constitution saving throws. In addition, choose one of the following. And this is where it gets into, right, mutations and things like that. You're a mutant. You have mutant abilities, and I don't necessarily see that mutations as part of psionics. I mean, you can. I'm not saying to anybody you can't do it. I'm just saying, in my little brain, I don't know if mutations would play a part. It would be an ability, per se, to morph or to change. That's just me, though. Let's see. Moving right along. That's the metamorph. Level 14, you have life-bending weapons. Once per turn, you create a creature with your... You hit a creature with your organic weapon. You can extend one psionic energy die and roll it. Each creature of your choice in a 10-foot emanation originating from it regains hit points equal to the number of rolled plus your intelligence modifier. Okay? All right. Psywarper. Psywarpers tune their psionic powers to the manipulating the space between objects, capable of teleporting across the battlefield and creating vacuums in space. A Psywarper is never in one place for too long. And then it's got things like Misty Step, Banishment, things like that. Level 3, you get teleportation. Level 3, you get Warp Propel. When a target fails its saving throw against your telekinetic propel, instead of pushing it, you can teleport the target to an unoccupied space, and you can see within 30 feet of you that is horizontal to you. Yeah, I want the psionics to be... I want it to be where I can, like crush your body into a can-sized... Like, it just start... Like, if I can manipulate... Like, at high levels, I just want your body to fold in on itself. Like, you know, just... It goes... Like a transformer. You're just crushing it on yourself to where you're like an invisible compactor is just kind of pushing you in. Let's see. Also for the Psywarper, Teleporter Combat. After you cast Misstep, you can cast one of your Psion cantrips that has a casting time action as part of the bonus action. Duplicitous Target. When you see a creature you can make, when a creature you can see makes an attack roll against you, you can take a reaction to expend one psionic energy die. Choose a willing creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself that doesn't have the incapacitated condition. You and the willing creature teleport, swapping places with each other. The creature then becomes the target of the attack. I think that's used somewhere else in Tasha's in another class, I think, as well. Mass teleportation. Excuse me. As a magic action, you can expend 4 psionic energy dice and choose huge or small creatures within 30 feet of you, up to a number of creatures equal to your intelligence modifier. Even the chosen creature is teleported to an unoccupied space you can see within 150 feet of you. An unwilling creature that succeeds on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC is unaffected. I would say, too, for mine, at least in my brain when I'm thinking, you know, if I want to hurl something large at you, like I want to hurl something even up to gargantuan. Like if it's big enough and I'm powerful enough, I want to be able to lift King Kong off its feet and throw it. Right? I'm using just massive energy to get this thing to be propelled somewhere, crashing into something. Hate to say this, but it seems like a lazy subclass. They are changing the vocabulary so I can use spells with a common grouping. Wait, is this Wizards of the Coast? I'm shocked, right? You know. I mean, they're using the systems that are already built into it. They're using what they have. They're not necessarily creating anything new. They're simply taking and shifting things that have already been created and putting it within the various classes they're creating. All right, let's go to the Psychonetic. Psychonetic controls their psionic powers like a malleable force. They bend their telekinetic energies into sturdy barriers and strike with the force of a battering ram. So you get Cloud of Daggers, Levitate Shield, Thunderwave, Odaluk's Resilient Sphere, Stone Shape. You get telekinetic techniques at level 3. You can impose one of the following effects on a target. Boost the target's speed, disorient, telekinetic bolt. If the target fails a saving throw, it takes force damage equal to the number rolled on the psionic die. Let's see. Michael says size matters not. Do or do not. Exactly. Doesn't matter how big it is. If I'm at an appropriate level to do it and I can roll the dice, it's gonna happen. Throwing Kong. Now that's a power name. That's right. If it's gargantuan, if I have the power to do it, why not? Right? Why? And you know, to do some of these things that are, you know, epic in quality, like they have, you know, an epic boon or something like that. Well, you should be able to do, you know, something like that. Throw something gargantuan if you want, or at least, you know, of course they probably get a roll to resist something like that. But you know, let's see, level 6 you get for the what are we looking at here? The psykinetic, empowered attack mode, rebounding field. When you cast shield in response to being hit by an attack roll and caused by the triggering attack to miss, you can expend 1 psionic energy die to launch the force back at the attacker. The attacker makes a dexterity saving throw, roll 2 psionic energy dice. On a failed save, the attacker takes force damage equal to the amount rolled, and you gain temporary hit points equal to that amount on a successful save. The attacker takes half as much damage. You come into my house throwing Kong? I don't think so. I've come to throw Kong. Let's see. What else are we getting here? Level 10, Enhanced Telekinetic Crush. You can spend 1 power die to modify a spell that whether a creature fails to seize on the saving throw, its speed is halved until the start of your next turn. I thought it was going to be cool. I thought you were going to do what I said earlier. You're going to be able to crush them, which is what I want them to. I want that to happen. Heightened telekinesis. All right, then you got the telepath. The telepaths are masters of mind magic. They use their psionic power for all matters of the mind, whether they bolster the mental defenses of allies or probe the thoughts of others. Undetected, a telepath can be a bastion of psionic aid or crafty manipulator. So you get telepath spells, which would be Bane, Command, Detect Thoughts, Mind Spike. Let's see. Level 3, Mind Infiltrator. When you detect thoughts, you can expend 2 psychic energy die to modify the spell so that the spell doesn't require spell components, concentration, and the target does not know you're probing its mind, it fails, and so forth. Telepathic Hub. You know, there's one ability I was thinking too that, and I don't know if it's here, telepathic thoughts, telepathic bolstering, scramble minds. Okay, it's not what I thought. There's where did I see this? Where you're able to probe somebody's mind and steal their talent. Right? And I'm thinking this is from a movie, and I can't remember what it is, but you're able to basically take on almost like a Taskmaster quality from the comics, where you can imitate someone else's thing, but you're actually taking their talent. You're probing their mind. You're seeing how they do something, and then you're taking it away from them so you can use it for however many rounds you want to use it for, however long you can concentrate. If they have an ability to do, Kung Fu, and you say, I want to learn Kung Fu, well, I'm going to probe your mind, and I'm going to learn how to do it for X amount of rounds that I can be able to do it. Wow, super chat from Gothridge Manor. Hey, Paul, I have to bail, but thank you for your video, and here's a little something for North Texas. Thank you, sir. I shall remember you as I am there. You wish you a good night. I know it's a little late where you at, and you got to go to bed. I get you, my brother. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part. And I'm going to be wrapping up here in a minute anyway. I'm a little bit over my time. I usually try to limit myself to about an hour and a half. But as we go through this, so... the telepath, the scramble minds, you have that. Then you have the spells. Let's see what looks interesting here. Design system Tasha's. Several spells from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything return in this article alongside some brand new spells. Here are the main updates to spells in this article. General updates. Returning spells have been refined and brought in line with 2024. Player Sandbook. New spells. New spells in this article summon Summon astral entity and telekinetic crush. Add new options to various class spell lists. The Psion also receives unique cantrips. Telekinetic fling, which I'll look that up. That may be the tossing effect, maybe. Raoul'Athem's Psychic Lance. This spell has more guidance around using a creature's name to target it. Tasha's Mind Whip. The spell now restricts only the target's ability to make opportunity attacks on a failed saving throw. All right, so you have Intellect Fortress. For the duration, one creature you can see within range. Has resistance to psychic damage. Okay. If you want to protect somebody from somebody else, okay. Psychic Scream. You unleash the power of your mind to blast the intellect of up to 10 creatures of your choice that can see you within range. Creatures that have an intelligence score of 2 or lower are unaffected. Yep, doesn't affect you. Probably wouldn't affect me if you did that. I'm unaffected by your Psychic Scream. I'm not a bright man. Each target might make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, target takes 14d6 psychic damage. I like that. Let's see, what else do we have? Raoul'Athem's Psychic Lance. You unleash a shimmering lance of psychic power from your forehead and a creature that you can see within range. Alternatively, you can utter a creature's name. A pseudonym, title, or nickname doesn't work. If the named target is within range, it becomes the spell's target even if you can't see it. Okay. If the named target isn't within range or you use an invalid name, the lance dissipates without effect. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, target takes 76 psychic damage and has an incapacitated condition until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the target uses half as much damage. Okay. Summon an astral entity. That's a level 3. It says you call forth the spirit of a psionic entity. It manifests in an unoccupied space, and you can see within range and uses the psionic spirit stat block. When you cast the spell, choose crystal entity. Choose crystal entity, ectoplasmic entity, or ghostly entity. Crystal entity, ectoplasmatic entity, or ghostly entity. The creature resembles an astral entity of that kind, which determines certain details in stat blocks. The creature disappears when it drops to 0 hit points. Okay, so you're summoning an astral creature. I don't hate that because in my game I have what's called the Veil, which is kind of like this random portal that opens up in Skyreach occasionally, where then if you're in the area of, and there may be more than one veil, we don't really know, but if you're within a certain distance of a veil, or veil energy, I'll call it, maybe you could do that. Maybe you could summon something, but what you summon may not be what you want. It may be something else. That's part of the danger of using it, and using it from a different plane. Something else is going to come out that you may not want. It may attack for you, it may not. We'd have to see. It may, whichever the greater threat, I would imagine, something like that. All right, and then we have Psionic Spirit. Smells like Psionic Spirit. Traits, actions. These are creatures here. Here we go. Psionic Spirit. Actions, multi-attack. The spirit makes a number of attacks equal to half this spell's level round down. Crystal Strike. Melee attack roll. Bonus equals your spell attack modifier. Reach 5 feet. Hit. 1d10 plus 3. The spell's level piercing damage. Okay. Ephemeral Ray. Range attack roll. Bonus equals your spell attack. 120 feet. 1d8. So basically it's like Scorching Ray. It's an Ephemeral Ray. Shard Swarm. The spirit is hit by a melee attack roll. Responds, the spirit halves the damage. Round down it takes from the attack. The spirit can then teleport to an unoccupied space. Shard Swarm. Crystal entity only. I don't know if that explains exactly what... Shard Swarm. Hit by melee. The spirit halves the damage. Okay. I thought that would have been much cooler of what it does. Telekinetic Trust, Telekinetic Fling. Then you have Wild Talent Feats. Atmokinesis. You gain the following benefits. Lightning Bolt. when bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, cast a spell or hit with an attack. Oh, lightning jolt. Excuse me, not lightning bolt. Lightning jolt. Okay. Psionic talent. You know the shocking grasp cantrip. Biokinesis. Bend life energy. When the spell you cast restores hit points to a creature, you can roll 1d4 and add number rolled to the total hit points restored. You can use this benefit to a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses. Okay. Let's see. Clairsentience. Minor foreknowledge. When you take the search action, you give yourself advantage on any ability check made as part of the action. You can use this benefit as a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So you're basically going to see some things coming. Cryokinesis. Ice manipulation. Once per turn, when you cast a spell or hit with an attack roll and deal bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, and psychic damage, you can change the damage type to cold damage. Okay. Empath. When you take the influence action, you can give yourself advantage on any ability check made as that opponent. You can use this benefit number of times equal to your proficiency, and you regain expended uses. You always have the Charm Person spell prepared. You can rest it. You can cast it once without spell slot. You can also cast it using any spell slot you have of the appropriate level. Okay. So this is what's her name from Guardians of the Galaxy. Basically, you can just touch somebody and they're gonna bring up a bad thought or good thought or something like that. Okay. Flesh Morpher. Okay, we know what that does. Mind Whisperer. Psy Trickster. Psychoneticist. The Telekinetic Fling cantrip. You also have, what is the Telekinetic Fling? Did I miss that entirely? Telekinetic Fling. There we go. What is that? You brandish the ammunition used to cast a spell and fire it at a creature within range using psionic energy. Make a ranged attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 force damage and the ammunition is destroyed. Okay. So components is an arrow, bolt, bullet, or needle worth at least 1. You brandish the ammunition used to cast the spell and fire it. Okay. So this is basically like what's his name's arrow. Once again from Guardians of the Galaxy, where you get to whistle and the arrow gets to go and maybe hits as many people. Okay, but I understand. So if you have, I like this in the idea of like, hey, if you have a table full of arrows and you want to just kind of do this massive sweep and all the arrows on the table fling at somebody, I think that works. I think that's a good use of the spell there. But yeah, once again, I think this works for this system. It's mileage may vary, but you're welcome to leave your comments in the after this. What you think about this. The Psion. It's not terrible. It's just a lot of math going on. There's a lot of things going on that I'd much rather want it simpler, and hopefully in my system I'll be able to figure out some things. I don't know if I'll shadow dark it. I'll have to look at Chubby Funster's stuff and see what he says, what he does with his, and then I will figure out what I'm going to do with mine. So I'll just take good ideas and then kind of put my own stuff on it and say, okay, what can I do with that? But I want to thank the chat for hanging out with me. We've been on here for about hour 15 minutes, and I appreciate you guys being here. I'll go back to camera here if I can. Let's see here. All right, there we go. We'll get rid of this guy here. Nobody needs two of me. But that is the class. Let me know what you think in the chat or in the comments down below. But yeah, just a walkthrough. You know, you tell me your thoughts of what, you know, whether you like using psionics in your game or not. I'm going to try to figure out a way to use it, but I'm also going to try to figure out a way to use it flavorfully, where it can impact the environment around you in the sense of, you know, what does it mean to have psionics versus what does it mean to be a spellcaster, and those things are just very different. Hopefully, I'm going to try to make them very much different in the world that I'm creating in Kriesh, and hopefully it'll be somewhat, you know, not, you know, novel if not unique, at least to how I figure out how I'm going to do it. But your suggestions are welcome. But anyway, Michael, thank you for being here tonight. Good luck putting together your Psion. My Scion, that's right. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to head on out of here, go do some things, and you guys have a great night. Thanks for hanging out for a little while. Appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Tells me you like the video and you want more of them. Appreciate you hanging out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good night, everybody.